Alrighty, so we're gonna get started. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. I'm always watching your show. I love your show on YouTube. Oh my God, it's just amazing.
Thank you. Where did you find me? Do you know how long you've been watching?
No, I just came up on your channel one day and I just subscribed that one time when I first came up on your channel. And you know how you just be browsing and they show you like things that's familiar on YouTube?
Uh huh.
And I just clicked one of your stories. I was just so interested. I'll be getting my popcorn. I'll be like, wait, hold up, pause.
Well, thank you,
And
thank you,
everybody
thank
named
you.
Mama on yo. Even my mom watches your stuff. She old.
See, hey, mama.
She always be on your show. Like, did she upload any videos yet? I'll be like, no, not yet. But yeah, it's cool.
That's what's up. Well, thank you. So as you know, like I did in the last one, this basically is just me talking to people. Nothing major, nothing serious, nothing really just whatever you want to ask me that you feel like I can help you with, you can, you can ask me. So,
Okay. Well, first of all, I am a lesbian woman. Out to some, but not really to everybody. My mom knows, but she don't know. And the reason why I say she knows, but she don't know, because maybe like last year, I invited a friend over who I called a friend, but she knew, but she was just. I think she was hurt because she really wanted me to come out and tell her like a woman, But I was uncomfortable, because I was like, I don't, my mom's a Christian and she's really all God fearing. And I was like, I don't know how she's going to react to this, So to make a long story short, she ended up finding out that me and my friend, quote friend, we were in a relationship.
hmm
And it
how
was
did
very
she find
embarrassing for
out?
me. Huh?
How did she find out?
She found out because, oh God, that was the most embarrassing moment in my life. I didn't have to recant it.
Yeah.
She found out because um, our actions were not friend like actions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right, and a mother watching what's going
Yeah.
on, and regardless of if it's a lesbian relationship or a gay relationship or whatever, you can tell the difference between two girlfriends and two lovers. So
Right.
you
So
just
she
can.
kind of, picked up on it like, wait, and then, and then she blasted me out in front of the girl. It was very embarrassing for me. I mean, the positive part is it was out and I felt a big relief off my shoulder. But the negative part of it was done in that manner. And I wish it had went about it another way. But the fault that I played is I should have been woman enough to say, look, this is what it is. I know you don't like it and you don't approve it, but it's just what it is.
Well, that's
So it was embarrassing, but I mean, it's over and done with
gotcha. I
now.
think I think the best thing. I think that's another thing that people don't. You only need to come out to people who you care about, who affect your life. To me, that's just my opinion. If it's somebody that's like somebody at work, it's somebody that has no weight or bearing on your life, I feel like you don't need to come out. But somebody like your mom or somebody that is personal in your life that you care about their opinion, I do think they deserve the respect of you. Like you said, coming to them like a woman and da 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 da. Even that's when you're ready, of course. But I I can see how somebody would want that type of respect. Um, but like you said, it is a complicated situation. This is your mom. You know her stance. You don't want to be, as a child who loves their parents, you don't want to be a disappointment. It's so many
Right.
levels of why you wouldn't. So I definitely understand. But you definitely just bringing her to the house, that was bigger than somebody else would.
Quite embarrassing.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's just like, I mean, I'm grown. I mean, I'm overgrown, as they say. But I just think, my other question was, I've been noticing that it's like a double standard when it comes to lesbian relationship and heterosexual relationships. And what I was meaning by that is I noticed that like when a woman meets a guy and he wines and dines her and takes her out, she automatically knows, okay, this is what I like. I want to be with this guy. He knows how to treat a woman, so on and so forth. But I noticed with me being in a lesbian relationship, I feel like I could do the same thing. And I don't know if it's just from my experiences, but a lot of my time is wasted. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't hear from the girl anymore. You don't get texts anymore. You like, well,
But that's not when you were talking about it. That's not a double standard because that is what happens to men as well. Men could date a girl and wine and dine her, and she not be interested, and
oh
and
my God.
they just they just and she doesn't call him back, she doesn't show him more interest, blah 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 blah. That just means they're not interested. It doesn't mean, I don't really think it's a double standard. I think from your experience, it's like, from your point of view, your perspective, it may seem like that because that's your dating experience or that's what you've seen. But when it comes to males, if you talk to males, they will let you know that's not always the case, because even if they wine and dine him, doesn't mean that she's gonna give up no coochie. It doesn't mean that she's gonna be with him. Right. It doesn't mean
it's
anything.
It's just a waste of time for me. I just really feel it's a waste of time. Because I feel like I'm the type of person where I'm upfront. I'll be on a lot of social networkings like Tagged and Mogul Space, and these social networking sites that have to do with dating. And I always put in my status, I'm looking for a serious relationship. And I tell people that hit me up, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for friends. Okay, well, have a nice. I hope you find what you're looking for. And most of the time, they're like, well, dang, that was kind of like a blow off. And I'm like, no, it's not a blow off. It's just that I don't want my time wasted, and I don't want to waste your time. Now, if we're talking with the intent of being in a relationship, that's different. But if you're only just looking for friends and friends only, that's not what I'm looking for, and that's a waste of time. And I've been noticing with me on these sites, I run across these women, and we talk for like 2 or 3 days, and then you don't hear from them anymore. And it's just like, wow. Well, I don't know if it's just we don't know what they want these days, or
that is just to keep it 100, that is the trial and error of dating for anybody. There's, especially dating online, there's people who really don't have good intentions, or not necessarily good intentions, that may not even be the right word. Some people may just not have the same intentions as you, and they will pretend that they do because they find you interesting, or they're just childish and playing games, or they really don't, they honestly just don't know what they want. So, but they know that they're in the world and they're dating. So, but they haven't really evaluated it to see exactly what they want. Am I looking for a relationship? Or it could be, I am looking for a relationship, but is me telling this person that I'm looking for a relationship is gonna turn them away because they may not be? Or it's so many levels to why a person wouldn't exactly be verbal about that. But that comes with dating. Like, you're going to go on dates that don't work out. You're going to meet people that's not right. You're going to meet people that they could have everything going for them, but just something isn't right. The chemistry isn't there. It's just the trial and error of dating. That's what it boils down to. It's not really a double standard. It's really just because men go through it, trans women go through it, lesbians go through it, gay males go through it. I hear a lot when it comes to gay males, they always say, I'm looking for a relationship, but as soon as I meet a dude, he want to fuck right off top, and it just turns into a fuck buddy thing, and da 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 da. And when I really was looking for a relationship, I was looking for somebody to hang out with and cuddle with and da da da, all that kind of stuff. Because, the stereotype is they just want to fuck anyway.
Well, I'm happy I ain't the only one, because, I'm just like, okay, I know it's not me. I know I'm a very, down-to-earth person. I'm very grown. I'm very independent. But it's just like you just run across, I don't know if it's just dating in society today, and it's a little different from back when our parents were dating and courting each other, but it's like totally different from, back then. You seen something that you liked, you were on it. But these days, it's just like people want to hold back. They're afraid to say this. They're afraid to say that. And I guess even though I'm only 29, I am kind of old-fashioned, because it's just like I don't beat around the bush. I say what it is that needs to be said, and, I just like I like people to know where I'm coming from. But unfortunately, going into the dating, world, it's changing. And for me, I mean, being a lesbian woman, I don't see that it's changing for the good, because it's just like a lot of time is being wasted. A lot of people's time is being wasted.
Well,
You know?
how I think about it, so I won't get bitter. I think about it in the sense that every situation I learn from, and that's so cliche to say, but it really is. Every situation you learn from. I remember talking to my grandmother and older people. The difference to me is a lot of times back in the day, although it seems like it was better, there was a lot of settling back then
Yeah.
where, this guy is coming on to me and he's doing all the right things, whining and dining me. He has a job, he's doing his thing. Because my grandmother told me this. She said, when back then, you married who had it going on the most as far as stability.
Mm.
The sex could be totally whack. There's something could not be right. But if he had a job and he was down with paying bills and he was quote unquote smart enough to be not get caught cheating,
Right.
that's the one you stick with. He's the one who's putting his time and effort and energy into doing what he needs to do as a man. So you settle for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for people back then, they may have been okay, but we in a whole different era. So it's going to take
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit longer because we're doing a little bit less settling. That's what the old people tell me. Um, but I learned from it and feel like everything everything comes in due time. Like I enjoy the moment right then. So if the date sucks, I'm ending it. Great, move on to somebody else. If the dating experience with this person is actual enjoyable, I am going to enjoy that particular moment. I'm not going to worry about what if this doesn't work out. I'm not going to worry about what if this does not turn into a relationship. I am going to enjoy this great experience that I'm having right now with this date. This guy may be he may tell me later on that, oh, well, this is just not for me, and I thought that we could be da 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 da. Whatever the future may hold, right at this moment, this date is great, and I'm going to enjoy it. Does it make sense? Like just live in the moment of enjoying it. Now, of course, like I said, if it sucks, then end it. I'm done with that. We're talking about people who are not bad. People who really it may not turn out like you want it to turn out, but the experience right at that moment is good. Enjoy that. I tell girls all the time that come to me about relationships, and I tell them all the time, well, I was like, do you love this dude? Are you enjoying you're telling me about what if he's cheating on me? What if this? What if that? You're talking about things that hasn't happened, but that could be, and blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about that. You love him now. Enjoy it. He's not doing, you don't know what's going on. Enjoy the moment, even if it's a relationship, dating, whatever, a friendship, whatever. Enjoy the happiness of the moment right then. Don't
Right.
overstress yourself out for what could not or could not be for the future.
Right.
Don't think of it as wasting time. Think
And
of
it
it
is to
as you
me.
living life. Think of it as you living life. This is life. I'm not in a relationship now. I'm dating. So this is a part of dating, me enjoying being single and the search, enjoying the search. Good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, that's a positive way to look at it. I think I'll start looking at it like that from now on. I mean, like I said, it's good to know that I'm not the only person that
You're
goes through
not.
it.
Oh,
But
no.
from every now and then, it just be like, oh my God, And I think that's the reason what kept me being, single for so many years. But nobody wants to be single. It's like that's the
No.
worst thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, it has its ups and downs. But what else did I want to talk about? Oh, the other question I want to know, I was going to ask you, do you think that you could ever get over um, somebody in time? Or do you think that it'll always be there? You just learn to move on?
Like healing from relationship scars.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think that they will always be there. I think you learn how to not let them affect you in a negative way.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the part of the healing process. You're gonna always remember this thing happening. You're going to always remember this moment in your life, however severe it is. It could be simple. It could be something as simple as this guy who talks about you being fat, and you may not have stayed with him for that long. You feel what I'm saying? But just
Right.
because those words were cruel, it may have affected your self esteem at that moment. Bam. And so you have to deal, because anytime you have any kind of insecurities, that situation may come up. It could not have been a long-term relationship, but that situation could have came up. And you have to learn how to deal with, that type of relationship, that type of something happening, and learning to grow from it and how it affects you. Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? If it's a long-term relationship you've been in, something that's really serious and really deep, whether somebody abused you, cheated on you, didn't appreciate you, you felt like you wasted your time in that situation, whatever it was that was negative that came out of that situation, it's almost like you have to always remember it. You have to remember it, because you don't want it to repeat itself. You see girls all the time that gets out of this relationship with this type of dude and gets back in another relationship with the same type of dude. You see that all the time. But the point is, you learn from that situation, grow from it. Don't let it affect you negatively. Don't be bitter. Don't bring it into new relationships so that same cycle can keep going, keep going. You learn from the situation and say, okay, well, this is what I learned from this. I learned that this is not how I want to be treated. So if I see signs of this next time, I'm not going to assume that it's going to happen. I'm just going to say, if I see signs of this next time, I know that this is time for me to get out of this situation. I know that I'm not going to let this determine or make me feel insecure about what I'm bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? He cheated on me. I'm not going to make me feel like I wasn't adequate of a woman enough to be with. I think that's what happens. Like, somebody does something to you and you make it about you. That's what the growth comes. The growth of learning that it's not about you and learning not to let this affect you in the future is the growth and the healing. And that's what's going to always stay with you. It may not always be a scar or negative. We call it a scar from relationship, or we call it that type of thing, but it may not be that. It may just be, hey, this is a lesson learned, and I'm living my life in a way that as if I learned this lesson. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, to use the
But with this
analogy.
particular
Hmm.
situation, I mean, it's been so many years that the situation has happened,
Hmm.
and it's gotten to the point where I was really at a where I was literally at a point where I was having a nervous breakdown. I was functioning, I was working, going to school, taking care of my girls, and from the outside looking in, you'd be thinking, oh my gosh, she got it so together, but deep inside, I was like literally having a nervous breakdown, and it got to the point where I was just like, asking God to like take this person off my heart because it wasn't becoming healthy for me. Um, I'm to the point where now the person is still on my mind, but I'm learning daily to accept the fact that this will no longer be anything anymore.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's gonna continue, and you're gonna think about it. I remember I was in a relationship with this dude for 5 years. Down low, brother. The typical story. Down low. Um, Never met his family. Um, he would take me out because I was passable enough to like go out. You feel what I'm saying?
mm,
He would take me out to places and we would hang out and do that kind of stuff, but it still was a down low relationship. And I broke up with him. 2 years later, I just had this random crying spell about the fucking situation. 2 years after I broke up with him, where I'm thinking, that I was over the situation. You feel what I'm saying? Because I had moved on, had other relationships, um, but if for some reason, just out the blue, came this crying spell about this situation. And it really, like I said, it wasn't about him. It was about me dealing with the issue of why was I letting myself be used
mm-mm.
and all the stuff that comes along with me being in this relationship with this man. Why did I allow myself to be in that situation? What is wrong with you? What is going on? Why are you repeating this pattern? Why are you da da da? All these questions and all of the answers and the questions and what it led to, that allowed me to heal. It allowed me to get over it. It allowed me to now when I think of him, it's absolutely nothing. Like it's nothing. But once that happened, and I dealt with the pain of the situation and dealt with why I was in it, because I didn't feel worthy. I secretly felt like a lot of people think, oh, you're pretty, so um you should it should be easy for you to get a man. But
That has nothing to do with it.
that has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with how I feel about it either. I still can feel, because I can still secretly, subconsciously in my mind feel like, oh, because I am a transgender woman, oh, because I'm this, da, 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 I have limited choices of men that I can be with. And so him fitting as close as possible as the image that I wanted to be with, I stayed in that situation. Once I dealt with that core issue, and learn that, look, choices is going to come to you. If you don't see them yet, work on getting you better. Work on getting you a degree. Work on making you a better woman. And in the process of making me a better woman, I learned that those things are going to open up opportunities for you to get in another relationship with somebody way better.
Sometimes, even though you're the victim, it sometimes make you feel like it was your fault, and you know that it wasn't your fault, and you keep trying to make excuses about, well, maybe if I done this, or maybe if I would have done that, things would have. I know for myself in that relationship, even though I know it wasn't healthy, and I know the reason why we stopped talking, I always often ask myself, like, if I would have done this differently, or if I would have done that differently, would it be the way it is today? And I noticed a lot of my friends say, why would you go back to this woman after all the stuff she put you through? And I noticed that I always have just one answer that makes me feel like that's the same answer that stupid broads be saying when they sound stupid.
And like, what's the answer?
I still love her.
Exactly. And that's a self-esteem issue. And I'm talking from experience. I'm telling you. It's a self-esteem issue that has not been dealt with. But you're working on it.
And I found out too, I know with me, it's validation. I don't know if this
with everybody.
It's validation. And it's just like, it's not enough that you get validation from family or friends, but
it's a difference between, you kind of, because as you grow up, you kind of get this entitlement when it comes to, my mom is supposed to love me. My family is supposed to love me. My friends are supposed to love me. There's a difference with when it's a relationship, because they don't have to. So it validates you to other people. It validates you as a person. A relationship says, I am worthy enough for somebody to choose me to be a companion. That whole validation thing in a relationship is totally different than, family and friends. So I get you. I totally get you.
Yeah, and I found myself, when I was in that relationship, it was just like whenever I did something that made this person proud, it was just like, wow, this person's actually proud of me, because, this person was all together. I mean, when you say this person was a successful person, I mean, she was just like every degree that they ever made, she was gorgeous. She was just everything. And, I wanted that. And that had a lot to do with the relationship, because I had idolized her and admired her. And, but I learned later on that she had some deep rooted issues.
And most people who are overachievers or who achieve a lot usually do. Because they're searching for validation too.
She has some deep issues, and I learned that she couldn't love me when she was still trying to love herself. Well, after I finally got the realization of that, it was too late. But it was just a part of, just wanting that validation from this particular person. And it was like it didn't have to, it could come from another person who was just as educated, but it had to be this particular woman. You see what I'm saying?
Right, you were smitten.
Very smitten. I mean, I don't know. And I mean that's what pushed me to go to school and get my degrees and all that other stuff. But it was just like, to this day I find myself still questioning, like, I wonder if I would have done this, would it have ended up like this? But I'm slowly to the process getting over it, I guess. But it's just taking one of those day by day processes.
It's always going to be there. It's how you interact with it that's going to change.
I just hate it though, because it's like, oh, out of everybody, and I was married. I had a husband, and I was married, but I even my husband didn't get me like this, and that was even the more like crazy thing about it, was that I've been married to my husband, but I never had those feelings for my husband before, and which was natural too, but no, and it was just kind of new for me, because I was just like, wow. I never even looked at my husband like this. And so I was just now getting to the point where it's just like, Lord Jesus, please take this person off my heart, because I can't deal anymore. I mean, the person doesn't call, thank you, Jesus. And I don't see this person because they live like in a whole other state. In another city.
Right.
But I just imagine, like, if I ever go to that city and run into her, oh my Jesus, I'd probably just drop in my skin. So
that I had that feeling too. I'm glad I blocked the number. I changed my number. I moved. I made sure that any way to change my Facebook name, any way to contact me to reel me back into this negative relationship, I ruined, because I did not want to be tempted to play with it again.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything I needed to do, because the relationship wasn't right. Because at the end of the day, I don't know about yours, but if you're being honest with yourself, I don't know the details, but if the relationship is not right, it never would have been right, regardless of what you did. It wasn't right.
And I agree with you, because that hit a nerve when you said that. That is absolutely true, because out of all the things that I have done, I always thought that when you're there for someone, you always have a special bond. You know how people be like, oh, that girl, she was there for me. That's going to be my best friend no matter what, or she's going to be my ace no matter what, because she was there for me when times were really bad. Mm-hmm. I always thought that people always had that special connection. And this person's son got murdered in 2008. Her son was murdered. And I was there for her through the whole trial of her son. And I thought that would make us closer, but inevitably it didn't. So I know that, to say all that, I know that it wouldn't have never worked out, because if something that severe couldn't hold us together, then it would have never worked out anyway.
And right, and also what we value is totally different than what another person values. I've had friends who I've done things for that I feel like, let's say that you had somebody live with you or something simple like that I felt like, to me, in my mind, they should value. I'm allowing you to stay with me. I'm allowing you to, blah, blah, blah. That there should be some type of respect and some type of bond just based on that strength. And it was not there. So the same thing can be said in your situation. Just because you feel like you would value that situation doesn't mean that she did.
Oh, wow. That was pretty deep, because I think that's severe. Losing a child, but
and it might be something. It might be deep, but how she took it in could be something not like we just talked about parents. That's something you my friend. That's something you're supposed to do, or that's something anybody would do to anybody because they lost a child. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of that. You don't know how they are, what kind of weight they're going to put on the value of that situation.
Right.
So.
Wow. I was always consistent. Whatever she needed, I was there. Whether it was, money or time, I was always there. Well, this one time she calls and she says, you know what? I need to borrow $100. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it to you. But this particular time, I couldn't give it to her. And she had been calling and calling and calling and calling, and I had went to the hospital, so my phone was left at home. When I got home from the hospital, I had like all these messages talking about, oh, you're not consistent, and it was really a mess. She left me a couple of colorful messages on my answer machine, and I never talked to her anymore after that. I never did. And when my cousin tried to call her and say, oh, she was in the hospital, she hung up the phone in his face. And it just really hurted me because I'm like, if you know a person has consistently been consistent with you, and it was one time that they could not come through, I don't think that allows a person to completely just cut you off. That made me realize that it was basically...
She didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. If a person has a legitimate... Everybody is, and and it's not consistent. You have been there for her prior and other situations, and then there's one time that you didn't come through. If a person does not accept that, then they don't want to, and you have to just let that go because they just don't want to. Because that's what you just explained to me. Something happened. I couldn't help you. I've been there for you in the past, and I try to explain to you that this is, well, I don't know if you did, but the cousin tried to. That it just, I couldn't do it at the moment. I was in the hospital. And if they don't want to accept that, then they don't want to do it. And that lets you know where you stand with them. Simple as that.
That's really deep.
That's real. Because it lets you know. It's like, and then it's almost like a guilt trip they're playing on you. Oh, you weren't there for me.
Because I always ask myself, like, what if I would have sent that $100? Would we still be talking? You know, or man, I should have just sent it anyway. I should have just got out the hospital. I should have went to Western Union and sent it. You know, but then I'm like, well, if I would have sent it, it probably would have been something else after that. You know, telling.
Right.
So,
because if she's that childish, then girl, come on.
It was meant to, for it to go down. And then, I was like, well, what if I would have sent it and then I would have felt stupid because I would have sent it and then she still didn't talk to me even if I did send it.
Exactly.
Then I just then got gypped out of $100 and I don't still have the communication.
Or the next time something happened where you can't send something, she's going to trip about it.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just like, wow, So, I mean, that's how we fell off. And it was just like, wow. I always question, what was the essence of the relationship. Was it, I'm getting to the point where I was thinking now it was for what I could do for her. And that was it.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of hard to accept that because I've done a lot. Like, I mean, all the money that I have spent, I end up losing what I was willing to pay. And not in a literal sense, but, just in general.
Right.
I mean, I've been blessed enough to gain all that stuff back, but it was just like, time. It wasn't really time wasted, but it's a very hurtful place that I'm still like growing out of.
And you're gonna have to grow through it, because if you have any chance of a future relationship, it's like you have to let that go. Simple as that. All right, it didn't work out. I'm going to give whoever the next person is that has the things that I look for, I'm going to give him a clean slate chance to, for me to be with them. I'm going to not be vulnerable and not be vulnerable in the sense of opening up to them, but I'm not going to play my cards stupidly. I'm still not going to let you use me because that wasn't wrong, because that's the part of the relationship that I did right. I didn't let somebody use me. You know what I'm saying? You have to be open to new relationships, and you have to still learn from that situation.
Yeah, I'm still getting to the point where I'm getting over it, and it's healthy that I don't run into this person, and it's healthy that I don't call this person, and it's healthy that I don't have any kind of communication with this person. But this person just had a birthday,
right?
And I did send this person a happy birthday through another social networking, and they didn't respond.
Gotcha.
So that was another realization that, okay, that needed to be your last attempt.
Yes. I'm glad you got it. That lets you know.
I was hoping I was going to get a response.
Because it's not right. And exactly. My the one I was telling you about, his birthday was October the 30th.
Oh
So
my God, hers is the 21st.
see, so it's the same. Except I didn't send no message, but I thought because I might be grown out of my healing a little bit further than you. Last year I sent a message, and this year I didn't send shit. I just
Did you
thought
get a
about it.
reply?
Huh?
Did you get a reply?
No. But now, mind you, it's that I left the situation alone. But because I'm the type of person I cut him totally off, and so I can get the emotion out of me. I don't, because for me to end a relationship, I have to be cut off from you because I'm too emotionally attached to people. So if I don't cut you off and go away and deal with it, when I come back to deal with you, it, it makes me more prone to want to get back with you because I haven't cut it off. So I cut that off, and then I waited a year and came back to close it. Like, this is why we needed to end, like, to have the discussion, like the closure of the situation. And we had a discussion, but this was prior to his birthday, and we talked about it in the sense that and got through basically this I don't want to be with a down low man, and I felt like you was using me for I felt like, you wanted to be in a relationship with me. I was like your trophy wife. You wanted to be with a transgender woman, but you didn't want it to affect your personal family life. So you kept me and it separate, and that's how he wanted it. That would have made him happy, and that wasn't what I wanted for love. You feel what I'm saying? So I got to explain that to him, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, he disagreed and said, "No, I wasn't playing you like that, and I loved you." Da 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 da. But if I didn't take that break, those words of his, I could have fell in the same trap of believing. Does that make sense?
Right.
I could have fell in the same trap of believing, but because I went left and came back with my strength and dealing with it, I can say, well, all right, baby, yeah, okay, that's what's up. So I left. I said, well, I just wanted to get the closure. Have a good day. And we still be cool. We can still talk. We can still be friends. Da 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 da. He was like, yeah, I still want to be friends with you. Da 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 da. So we really never talked after that conversation. But on his birthday, I sent him a message to say, happy birthday and da da da. And he never responded. So, great. That lets me know something. So you really don't want to be my friend. So let's end it and I move on. And that's what happened. This year, when his birthday came around, of course, because this is a day and I remember it because we were together for 5 years, I thought about it, but I never once considered sending him a message because of the last one. I'm done with that. And next year, you probably won't send a message. You won't.
I won't.
Exactly. So, it just happened. It's just the process of learning, the process of getting over it and coming to the realization that, it's over. That's the healing.